looking at. Ain't never had no surfer like me. Start swimming over here and ride my wave. Cause I see that you party like there's no tomorrow. Let's leave the party, I'll grab my guitar. I got the keys, so jump in my car. Sit back, relax, Australia's kinda far. Hey there, pretty brown eyes. What you doing later tonight? Spend time with you, yeah. And I said, hey there, pretty brown eyes. What you doing later tonight? Would you mind if I spend time with you, yeah? Spend a little bit of time with you. 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 Oh, 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 oh.
Hello, good morning and welcome. Welcome to Career Connectors. We're thrilled you guys are here today and we have a great event for you. My name is Jessica Pierce. I'm the founder and CEO of Career Connectors. We started 15 years ago and we have just been serving people in career transition since. And so thank you for being here. If you are new, then buckle up. You're ready for a great day. If you're not new and you've been here before, then you kind of know what's coming and what we're about. So first thing I want you all to do, if you don't mind, is open up the chat, which is on the bottom of your screen. It should be on the bottom of your screen, a little icon, and open up your chat and introduce yourself. Because even though we're virtual, that doesn't mean we're not going to network. So let's go ahead and jump over to the chat. Let us know who you are, where you're calling us from, where you're joining in from. We're based in Arizona, but we serve nationally. So we have people calling in from all over the place. And then let us know what type of position or industry or focus that you have for your career transition. Later, I'm also going to mention dropping in your LinkedIn URL and how to do that. So if you already know how to do that, go ahead and do that because that is a great way for us all to connect with each other offline. Career Connectors is a nonprofit organization and we serve people that are in career transition. And what we do is provide resources, contacts, connections, and hope. Because I know many people, when they're going through career transition, can feel like they're alone and they don't know the next step. And so we're here to tell you there are jobs out there. There are actually great jobs available out there. And so we want to be that connection and to show you how to get there much quicker than if you were to go it on your own and actually probably land a much better position than if you were to go on your own. So welcome. And that is what we're here to do. There's a couple tech things I just want to go through real quick. Again, the chat icon is on the bottom. And also, if you're on a phone, sometimes there's 3 dots and you have to kind of drop down to click on the chat. So connect on the chat because that's where I'm going to ask you all to drop questions, comments, connect with each other, introduce yourselves, network. The chat is where it is. And so we have everybody muted on these calls except for our speakers to help us focus, but we typically have time for questions and I will help moderate that. So please go ahead and drop in the chat. And then when we get to the breakout sessions at the after our speakers, then we'll have everybody, you're able to unmute and then you can talk to our coaches directly. And so we have a lot packed into today. Also, we are going to highlight our speakers. So you'll typically see the PowerPoint and then the speaker. But if you have any questions about that, there is a view option where you can choose speaker view to make sure you're just seeing the speaker in the PowerPoint. And then make sure you stay with us after our speakers because, again, we're going to have breakout sessions where you can talk to resume writers, professional certified resume writers, LinkedIn coaches, career coaches, interview coaches, our speaker. We have a lot of options for you at the end to get some direct small group and one-on-one coaching. If you would like closed captioning, that is available to you as well. There is an option on the bottom of your screen. It says show captions or live transcript. You can click on that and it will show the captions for today. Also, at the end of the call today, you will get an email, and that email will have resources that we mentioned today. It will have a link to this webinar in the playback. so that if you have questions or if you would like to play back the webinar in any capacity, then you are welcome to do that. And so I just want to say, you know, if you're you have questions, if you aren't sure what kind of next steps to take, listen in to what we have to say. We're gonna have Lethia Owens is here. She's an international speaker. She's going to talk about intentional serendipity, and that meaning how to attract more good fortune for your greater success. So how to get those connections to respond to you. So we're going to talk about that. And then Amanda Miller is going to go through 6 components of a successful job search. I will close it out with some resources, and we have a really huge announcement in the resources time that has been building up for 8 years. And so we did not prep anyone for this because we're doing a soft launch today. It's only for the people that are on the call, and then we will do a hard launch in May. But so that's coming during the resources time, and then we will have the breakout sessions for about an hour, and then we'll close it out around 11:30 Pacific Standard Time. And so, all right, I am so excited to get to introduce our keynote speaker today. It is the first time that we have had her on our stage, and we are just so thrilled. Making a difference in the world as a growth strategist and leadership speaker for industry-leading organizations, entrepreneurs, and women's conferences. Lethia Owens helps leaders develop a growth mindset and increase their impact and influence. She is an author, a tech CEO, branding expert, and leadership expert who is ranked number 8 among the top 30 brand gurus in the world. Lethia knows what it takes to be a game changer. She went from a high school dropout to a highly sought after international speaker. And she is the author of Your Brand Influence, The Art and Science of Building an Influential Personal Brand. And she has successfully launched 4 startups. She's a little geeky, magnetically motivating, and oozing with brilliant business strategies that challenge you to get in the game, because game changers, not spectators, win championships. She's the founder of Game Changers International, and her message of reinvention, courage, and self-empowerment has inspired audiences on Fox, CBS, and NBC affiliate networks. So will you please help me welcome Lethia Owens to the event today?
Hello. Welcome, everyone. I am so excited to be here with you today, to see your smiling faces and to see your comments in the chat. You all are tuning in from all over the world. I'm tuning in from West Palm Beach, Florida. Excited to be here with you. And guess what? I am in my outdoor office today because the weather looks beautiful. I see a cloud over there, so hopefully we won't have any rain while I'm actually on this call. But if we do, no worries. I'm going to pivot, just like many of you are having to do. Pivot, right? Pivoting is a new skill that we have to, and a new muscle that we have to strengthen in the world that we live in today. Today, we're going to be talking about intentional serendipity. And I'm not sure how many of you really understand what serendipity is, and I'm not going to make any assumptions about your relationship with this word, but it's one of my favorite words in the whole English language. So serendipity is basically good fortune, right? This idea that, good fortune is something that happens to us, serendipitous. Like when we say it was serendipitous, it means that we had good fortune that we've experienced without doing anything or trying to make something happen. Okay. So when we think about this idea of intentional serendipity, what we're really saying is that we can be intentional about creating more good luck. So that is really what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be talking about how to magnetically attract more good fortune for greater success. Now, just as I said that, I realize it has started to rain. It has started to rain. So I am going to need 1 second to shift out of the rain. And I'm going to keep talking because, again, we have to pivot, right? So as I pivot, what I want to share with you is from the perspective of, 1 second. Okay. From the perspective of, looking for a job, or really taking a step in the direction of really trying to attract the best career opportunity possible for yourself, right? It's important to realize that you actually have some control over what you experience. You have some control over the opportunities that come your way. Because when we talk about intentional serendipity, how you show up in the world every day, how you respond to challenges, what you think about situations and circumstances, all of those things actually create create part of the experience that you have in this world. So I want you to, for a moment in the chat, I want you to, when you think about where you are right now and what you're hoping to get out of this call, I want you to think about um, what is one thing you would like to magnetically attract into your space? What's one thing? So take a moment and put it in the chat. What's one thing you would like to magnetically attract? Okay, let me see what you have here. All righty. Dream job. I love that. And so in order to attract your dream job, you have to know what it is. Yes, Cody says balance. Wonderful. And Cody, I want to challenge you a little bit or want to encourage you to think about harmony versus balance, right? Balance means we have to keep things equal, but harmony is a little bit more forgiving in that it allows us to look at how do we keep things effectively and properly and cohesively aligned, right? Opportunity, abundance in all areas of life, positivity, opportunity, your ideal client. Yes, I love it. Gainful employment for a great job. So you all have an idea of the good fortune that you want to attract. You have an idea of the things that you want to magnetically attract into your life. And I want you to hold on to that. And whether you call it harmony or balance, Cody, it doesn't matter, but you got a clear picture of what it is, right? So as you think about this thing, this lifestyle, this career that you want to attract. And some of you are thinking about peace and joy. I love that. I love that. All righty. So as you think about the things that you want to attract, I want you to hold on to the belief for a moment that you actually get to control. You actually get to contribute to. You actually have a say in how those things come into your life and when those things come into your life. Okay. So as we, let me make sure I can advance the slides here. Give me a second. Let's see. I think I am co-host. So we're going to advance to the next slide.
Lethia, it should be on the bottom left. Do you have control?
I am trying. Yesterday, I just used my arrow.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I don't see anything on.
Wendy, if you want to, maybe we do need to move it over to that other view you were talking about.
Am I?
Oh, there you go.
Okay, there we go. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, I guess I don't have to be co-host. Okay, here we go. All righty.
There you go.
Go.
Thanks.
Wonderful. All righty. So I want to ask you all to think about, what do people see when they see you? What do people see when they see you? Right? I want to tell you a quick story because this will give you a good insight into who I am and into what I do and so forth. But I remember I had just left corporate America and started my company, and I was so excited to begin networking and sharing with people, who I am and what I do and how I can make a difference. And so I'm at this networking event and I'm talking to people, right? And as I interact with them, what I find is that like people seem to really be receiving what I'm saying about who I am, my brand. And it was so much fun because I love to talk. When I was in grade school, I used to always get needs improvement for talking, right? So I'm talking to all these people and eventually I get tired. I need to take a break, go to the restroom. So I go to the restroom, and just as I enter the stall and close the door, I hear two women come in. And one woman says to the other, "Have you met Lethia Owens yet?" I'm in the stall like, oh my gosh, like it's working. People are talking about me, right? Because when we're networking, we want people to talk about us so that we can get known, we can have greater visibility and so forth, right? So I'm like, oh my goodness, they're talking about me. Well, the lady says, yes, I've met Lethea. Who does she think she is? What? And I hear them go on to have this not so pleasant conversation about me. And I'm like, who does she think she is? Why are they saying these things about me? And I want each and every one of you to understand that you are building a brand in the minds of the people that you live with, that you've worked with, that you will work with, that you engage with and communicate with and do business with, do life with, right? You're building a brand in the minds of the people that you know with every word you say and with every action you take. And so it's really important for you to understand how people are perceiving you. You've probably heard the term read the room, like read the room. Well, sometimes we need to read more than the room. We need to read how people are internalizing who we are. And so the women in that moment were internalizing that I was this person who was domineering, like overbearing. And because I was so excited to just share who I was. And I was like aggressive and I was out there and you got to market yourself. And that's what I thought. And that's what I believed. And so I decided to do my very first personal brand assessment. And that was to take the pulse of people I encountered or engaged with to see what they thought about me. And sure enough, when I got the results back, I heard phrases and comments that were not in alignment with how I saw myself or how I wanted to be seen. And so some of you, it's time for an adjustment and how you're showing up in the world. If you want to create intentional serendipity, it's time for some of us or for some of you to just shift how you're showing up in the world, because how you're showing up is actually what's attracting or creating the opportunities or not creating the opportunities that you really want. And so I had to give it, some thought, and it was hard, but you know what? I was like, I really need to think about how I'm showing up and how do I want to be perceived. You see, people basically gave me feedback and said, Lethea leaves dead bodies and wounded people behind her. Like Lethea gets the job done, but at the expense of relationships. And I didn't realize I was doing that. I was so focused on the task, on the project, on getting the results that I didn't really work on my people skills as much. And computer science, techie, math person, I was so linear and so focused on the steps that I forgot to be sensitive to the people. And when I decided that I would strengthen the other part of my skill set, I mean, the results were profound. I started getting 14% pay raises when the average was 4%, because I took what I was extremely already good at and I took something that was for me it wasn't really a weakness, it was more of a blind spot, because I was able to work on it and improve it and really become strong in it. A weakness is not something that you can really make strong. A weakness is something that you can typically work on and remove the negative impact of it. But something that's a blind spot is something that you can turn into a strength. So I worked on it, worked on it, worked on it. And I did another brand assessment. And guess what? I got results that said, Lethea is inspiring. And then I did it in a second year. And the number one word that people used to describe me was inspiring. And then I did it a third year, and people said, Lethea is inspiring. It took me 3 years to really believe it, which is crazy. I mean, just so crazy. But once I believed it, I began to own it. I began to own the fact that I'm inspiring. So wherever I go, I can be in the grocery store line, I can be doing a podcast interview, I could be leading a mastermind retreat in Dubai, all of these things that I do. And I intentionally leverage who I am. And so, one of the ways that we create intentional serendipity, meaning we can intentionally attract good fortune and greater success into our lives, is by intentionally leveraging and using the positive attributes of who we are and how we're showing up. So, how does the world see you? How do people see you? right? What do they see when they see you? That's a question that you really do want to spend some time trying to analyze and trying to better understand. I didn't say this at the beginning because the rain kind of threw me for a loop and I had to pivot, but I do want you to ask questions. And I see some of you are asking questions in the chat, and I want you to ask the questions. Jessica's going to compile all the questions, and at the end, I'm going to take a few minutes to actually answer questions that you've asked during the call. So fire away. If you have a question or a thought based on something that I say, please feel free to go ahead and share it. Okay. So I want you to know what people see when they see you. Don't just guess, but like do an assessment. Do a personal brand assessment. Reach 360 is who I recommend going through to do a personal brand assessment. If you just Google Reach, REACH 360 assessment, you'll be able to find a link for it. And it's going to really provide some eye-opening results as to how people see you. So the other thing that I want to share with you is that when we think about our personal brands that we're building, right? Um, and some of you are saying, I've been shy. Some of you aren't as comfortable sharing about who you are, and you're tooting your own horn. We live in a world now where we are responsible for tooting our own horns and sharing our brilliance with the world, because no one else is ever going to speak up about you more powerfully or candidly than you will. And so I want to share with you this next slide, which basically shares with you that I believe when we think about this idea of personal branding, if your brand message, your personal brand message is noticeable, likable, credible, and dependable, then guess what? It can become powerful and influential. That's another way that you actually contribute to what you are attracting into your life, right? So when we think about the science of serendipity, you don't find it, ladies and gentlemen. You actually create it. And that's what I've been talking about this first part of our talk. So I told you about that story of how I showed up, but here's what I didn't tell you. I needed to understand why I was showing up that way. Like, Lethia, why are you showing up domineering and demanding and just driven and focused? Yes, but working in such a way that you are not really leveraging relationships, and you're not really caring for people in the way that they need to be cared for, especially if you're leading them, right? And I had to go all the way back to something that happened to me when I was a young girl. I ended up having to drop out of high school because I became a teen mom. And when I did, my homeroom teacher, Mr. Wilder, looked at me and said, "You'll never amount to anything. You'll never be anything. You'll probably end up on welfare or drugs. You'll probably end up selling blow." And I thought, wow, now this was a teacher I highly admired and respected. And this is what he said to me at a time when I needed words of hope and inspiration. But I did drop out of high school. It was the safest thing to do for my daughter. And I ended up going back to school. And when I was in school, now here's another thing I want to share with you, is that my mother immediately quit her day job as a bookkeeper. She didn't even have a high school diploma herself, but she quit her day job and got a job at night as a security guard so I could go back to school after my daughter was born. And my boyfriend in high school, not the same guy that got me pregnant, he was a deadbeat, but I met this guy my junior year in high school, and he encouraged me to study for the SAT. And I said, "I'm not going to college. I'm going to become a cosmetologist." And he said, "No, you need to go to college. You're really smart." And so to humor him, whenever we were hanging out, he bought a book. I would study for the SAT. So it was time to take the SAT. And my mom, you know, I went to her to say, "Mom, I need $45 to take the SAT test." And my mom said, "Girl, I don't have any money for an STD test." And I said, "No, it's not an STD test. It's the SAT test, right?" So my mom wouldn't pay for the test. So my boyfriend paid for it. And I circled 6 schools that, I'd heard on TV: Vanderbilt, Harvard. Yeah, I just, circled schools that I'd heard about on TV. And I circled my local university. Well, 6 weeks later, I get called into the principal's office. Now, Mr. Wilder was right. I would one day end up selling blow. but I sold blow pops out of my locker. That's how I actually took care of my daughter. And so I knew someone had snitched on me. So I go to the principal's office. I'm trying to figure out who snitched on me. And when I open the door, there's a gentleman in the room, and he holds up a piece of paper and he says, Lethea, I have a near perfect SAT score, but no college application. What gives? And I'm like, oh, good. It's not about the blow pops. And then he says, what if we give you a full ride scholarship? Because I told him I'm not going to college. I'm going to be a cosmetologist. So he says, what if we give you a full ride? And I said, sir, a full ride? I'm not getting in a car riding with you anywhere. I had no clue, ladies and gentlemen, what a full ride meant. Long story short, I got a full ride scholarship to go to college and went on to get a undergraduate degree in computer science, a master's in leadership, a certificate in digital marketing, and 2 honorary doctorates. And it has been an amazing and wild journey. But when we think about the science of intentional serendipity, ladies and gentlemen, I created the good fortune that I'm experiencing in my life. I created it through my actions, through the discipline, through the work that I've done. And so I want to encourage you to to continue to be diligent. Don't give up on yourself. If you're going to bet on anything or anyone, I encourage you to bet on yourself, because here's something that I love and I believe wholeheartedly. I believe that, as my favorite friend says, Dr. Seuss, today you are you. That is truer than true. There is no one alive who is youer than you. And so it's important for you to own who you are. It is important for you to step into your bigness, your brilliance, because I believe that you're bigger, more powerful, and more valuable than you've ever been taught to believe in, that than you could ever even imagine, right? And so as you think about this idea of attracting this good fortune into your life, it begins also with you seeing yourself more powerfully, you seeing yourself differently. I know, especially if you're in the middle of a job search, which my daughter right now is going through the same exact experience. Almost every day I get a phone call, every other day or every few days I get a phone call. Could you pray for me about this particular job interview? I'm excited about this opportunity. And that's been going on for months. And she's still waiting for her dream job, and she's still looking and seeking. So my heart goes out to you. And I understand a little bit about what you're going through. And so the need, whether you're looking for a job and you're displaced, or you're in a current position, but you're looking for your next move, it can be a little bit emotionally jarring to go through that process. But this is the time when you most need to guard your mind and protect your heart and think about the value that you bring to the table. And you need to think about how big you are, how powerful you are, how valuable you are, right? And I want you to stay focused on those things. Now, I want to also share with you a secret that's going to help you in this process, and that is the ability to stay curious. It actually is a superpower that unlocks hidden doors. When you are curious and you ask questions, you become sincerely nosy about other people and about other things. You will be surprised how showing up this way is a just a secret key to unlocking hidden doors and unlocking opportunities and potential, and how it becomes a magnet for you to attract the things that you deeply, deeply, deeply desire. And so when we think about curiosity, right? Curiosity is about really asking questions and seeing the world around you as an explorer. When you're looking at things and you're talking to people, like, explore, ask questions, things that you may not even think are relevant are really, really relevant. So I'm at Planta, which is a like a vegan restaurant last night. The bartender makes us an amazing drink, and we're like, "Oh my gosh, what is this?" And he tells us this dragon fruit cocktail, pina colada, right? So we have this amazing drink, and we have a couple of quick conversations, I mean, couple of exchanges with him. But then I just become sincerely interested and nosy, right? And I start asking him more questions. And luckily, we were the only ones at the bar, my friend and I. And so we're sitting at this bar and he's just getting ready to wind down for the evening and close. And I'm asking him all of these questions. And then he tells me that he's in between jobs. This is his part-time job, but he's trying to get a job as an educator. I don't know how we ended up on that conversation, but just with me asking him lots of questions. He says, yeah, I really would love to work in the school system. I would like to be a teacher. And then I get to say, my friend right here is a retired principal. And after I say that, they enter into a 20-minute conversation where she pours into him and gives him all of this amazing advice about how to navigate the school system, how to set himself up for success. And I just sit back and I am so blessed by the conversation. But the conversation and the ability to attract into his life what he needed it stemmed from curiosity. Now it happened to be me who was curious that created this experience. But imagine if he starts to adopt that, and everywhere he goes he's just asking people questions and talking and getting to learn more about other people. He's going to find people who have information that could be very beneficial to him and unlock some hidden doors that he didn't know was there. And so I want to encourage you to stretch. I don't know how many of you remember Stretch Armstrong, but I love Stretch Armstrong. He was actually my brother's little toy, but I played with him more than my brothers because I love this idea of just pulling him and stretching him. And that as an adult is something that I've actually come to expect every day. And I actually thrive on it and I look for it every day. I pray I pray to meet someone and to learn something every day that stretches me, because I am better at the end of the day when that happens. So I want to encourage you to stretch, to look at how you can grow and become better and better. I'm a transformational leadership expert, and I do a lot of work with organizations, helping them develop leaders, right? And I also am a geek and a techie person, right? So I'm also a tech CEO. I own my own digital marketing agency. And having two companies has really been a stretch for me. I've learned so much and I've had to grow in a lot of different areas. And so in this season of shifting and transitioning into something new, something better for you, hopefully, maybe something even bigger and brighter, you're going to have to stretch, right? So when things stretch you, don't resist it. Imagine if as you're being stretched, you're constantly trying to stay small and you're trying to stay tight and you're trying to conform or stay conform to your old way of doing things, it's limiting. But allow yourself to be stretched so that you can experience new things and learn new things and meet new people and have new outlooks and new experiences that really help you to become a better human being and to experience bigger and better things, right? The name of my marketing company, digital marketing company, is called Next Level Biz, because I think that each and every one of us have a next level. There's always a next level to experience. There's always a next level of growth to step into. And so I want to encourage you to do just that. Now, another concept that I want to share with you today is this concept of having a magnetic mindset. And I wanted to share with you how optimism attracts opportunities. Now, I want you to think for a moment, the person that you know, and when I said, optimism attracts opportunity, you probably thought of someone in your life who's very optimistic. And so I want you to just, from a contrast perspective, I want you to think of someone who's super, super, super optimistic in your life and someone who is super, super, super negative in your life. You don't have to say their names out loud. You don't even have to put it in the chat. But I want you to just think of two people, right? And if you um, have your two people, right, I want you to just put a one in the chat. If you have your two people and you're thinking about them and you know exactly who they are and you're holding them in your mind's eye, I want you to just put a one in the chat so I know you're tracking with me and you're following along. Okay. All right. Karen and Karen. Yep. Veronica shared. Wonderful. So you got two people, right? So as you think about these two people, I want you to imagine that there's this amazing opportunity, this dream opportunity that is one that anyone in your organization would want to step into. If you were the person responsible for trying to help fill that position, how likely is it that you would go to that negative person that you're thinking about to say, hey, I just wanted to share with you this amazing opportunity? Probably not going to happen. But the person who is optimistic, the person who is positive, you probably would think of them first, and you would say, hey, I got this amazing opportunity. I can't wait to share it with you. Blah, 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 blah. Right. So no one has an amazing opportunity and immediately thinks of the most negative person they know and say, I should share this with them. It just doesn't happen. And here, see, I can say this to you in love because I don't know you. And I'm going to say something to you. And I need you to be honest with yourself, right? Are you a negative person? Are you the person I'm talking about? Have you allowed yourself to become cynical, skeptical, disgruntled, frustrated, disillusioned, and you've become negative? I want you to just check yourself because you just might be that person. There have been times in my life and in my career where I became that person. See, when life is lifing and people are peopling, sometimes it can pull you into a mindset where you are not showing up in the most powerful and the most positive way. Sometimes things happen, life happens, and we find ourselves falling into the trap of thinking negatively. And 2 days ago, my whole mood and disposition just shifted and went left to the negative. And I'm like, wow, all of a sudden I felt an overwhelming oppression, and I had negative thoughts about an opportunity that is in front of me. And I had to deal with those thoughts. I'm not saying you're a negative person. Perhaps you just have negative thoughts sometimes, and you need to deal with those thoughts, right? So, yesterday, when I realized, wow, I'm becoming overwhelmed with these thoughts, wait, these thoughts are negative. Like these thoughts aren't serving me. I did the work and I began to reframe those thoughts. And this morning, I woke up excited to just meet the day and to have another opportunity to do what it is that I do. And I didn't let the negative thoughts of yesterday spill over into today. So having this mindset, this magnetic mindset that focuses on optimism is so important. So think about these brands, right? I'm going to share with you a couple of brands that let's see if we can get this. Okay, here we go. Here are some brands that many of you are familiar with. When you think of these brands, what is the first word? Put the name of the brand and the word that comes to mind first when you think of that brand. Put that in the chat for me. Google initiative. Awesome. Give me some more. Trust it. Mhm. What else? Pizza Hut childhood. Wonderful. Amazon fast. Yeah. So here's the deal. When you saw these words or these companies, you immediately had a word that came to mind. When people see you or meet you, or if they get to know you a little bit, they immediately think of a word. Like you begin to build a brand in their mind, and your personal brand is made up of the thoughts, the feelings, and the ideas that people hold in their mind and their heart and their head about who you are. And so you're building that. You are creating an opportunity for people to get to know you better. And so, just like these companies have built a brand, you are building a brand for yourself. And as you think about these companies and the words associated with them, you're going to create words in people's minds based on how you show up. And that's why it's so important to intentionally hold in your heart and in your mind the dream job that you said you want. Some of you, Disney dream. Let's look at a couple of BMW, dependable, Oprah self-made, Disney owns everything. Yeah, Nike, Michael Jordan, Starbucks, high maintenance, Kool-Aid, smile. Right. So thank you all for sharing some of those other words. Um, so what I wanted to share with you is that it's so important to intentionally hold your dream, that dream job, that dream career in your heart and mind, because you want that dream to pull you forward. When you hold your dream so clearly, crystal clear in your mind, it's like your present will reach back to I'm sorry, it's like your future will reach back to your present, and it will pull you forward and inspire and compel you to move forward to accomplish the things that it is that you desire in your heart. And so that's why some days I read one extra book, or I watch 2 or 3 extra videos to pull me forward, because my future, because I'm holding it so crystal clear in my mind's eye, it is able to inspire me and to compel me to move forward. So this is the dream home that I have. So Andre and I are getting closer and closer and closer to this dream home. And I'm actually meeting with a broker soon to just talk through some of the numbers and the strategies around getting us into this home, right? We live in Florida. Florida has some crazy rules and expensive origination fees. So we're trying to figure out all of the things that we need to be aware of as we build our dream home. But even in building this home, it's very much like the dream that you all are holding in your head and your heart. We have to be so crystal clear about what it is that we're building and what it is that we want, because in the process of getting there, we're going to experience things that are not so pleasant. This is muddy. It's sometimes cold, sometimes it's going to be rainy, it's going to be dirty, right? It's going to be hard. But we have to hold in our mind's eye the thing that it is that we want while we're going through the process of doing the work, because it's not going to be easy. And that dream that you desire, sometimes it's going to be bloody and excruciating and painful, but it's going to be worth it when you get across the finish line. When you get across the finish line. I'll never forget, I desired to hold a retreat in Dubai. And so when I held my first retreat in Dubai, we went to visit the Burj Khalifa, the tallest building in the world. And I took it's called the Game Changers Mastermind Retreat.com. And I took my group on the Game Changers Mastermind. It's actually GameChangersRetreat.com, but I took them on the mastermind. And we went into this building. And when we were looking at how the building was built, what we learned is that before they put the first beam in place or the first pane of glass, they spent months and months and months digging deep in the earth. And I learned something that day, ladies and gentlemen. I learned that the deeper you dig, the taller you can stand. That's the only way that they were able to build high into the sky, is because they first went deep. And so are you willing to go deep? Are you willing to look at yourself in the mirror, to do the honest reflection of where you strong? Where do you need to strengthen your skills? How do you need to shift your mindset? Looking at your personality and figuring out ways to leverage who you are. I worked in IT, and in IT, being an excellent communicator was a very strong selling point, even though most of my colleagues hated that I asked a lot of questions, right? But when it came time to lead, I was the one that was chosen because I would ask questions. I would be comfortable. I mean, I was comfortable speaking in front of an audience in a group. And so I was the one that was chosen for these high visibility projects and opportunities because of my personality. I learned to leverage who I am. You see, what makes you different, that thing that sometimes is quirky about you, that thing that sometimes you think is insignificant, or that thing that other people have told you they don't like about you, that thing that makes you uniquely you, ladies and gentlemen, what makes you different makes you valuable. And what makes you valuable is the very thing that can make you wealthy. Never, ever, ever forget that. What makes you different makes you valuable, and what makes you valuable is the thing that can make you wealthy. So as we prepare to kind of wind down and look at the latter part of this presentation, I want to just share with you this additional concept, which is to be real. Lead with authenticity, win with alignment. Lead with authenticity and win with alignment. Give the world all of who you really are. Don't allow anyone to tell you that you need to change. Don't allow, and when I say change, yeah, we all need to grow and be better. But when I say change, is if you are someone who loves to communicate, someone may tell you you need to be quiet. That's not really possible without you subduing who you are. Um, don't try to be someone else. You can never be more valuable as an imitation or copy of someone than you can be as an original of yourself. So always bring who you are, the the person that you are, the best of who you are, the most authentic version of yourself, bring that to the table and and look for the opportunities to go places where you're not tolerated, but places where you're celebrated for who you are. When I think about bringing your most authentic, real self to the table, it's important for you to realize that you also have to learn to share with the world who you are. You have to learn how to articulate your value. You have to learn how to toot your own horn and do it in a way that doesn't come across as arrogant, but in a way that shows that you have value and you understand your value. Because if you can't communicate to others what your value is and how you make a difference and how you impact your organization, then it's going to be hard for them to really understand and see it, right? So invisible contributions have no value. You could have been the most talented person on your team, but if no one knows what you did, if no one hears about how you effectively closed a deal or saved the company money or made the company money or improved quality or improved customer service, if no one knows what you did, it is an invisible contribution. And invisible contributions, ladies and gentlemen, they have no value. And so you want to be careful to not just keep the great things that you're doing to yourself, but you want to find ways to share with who it matters most. Like usually that's your supervisor or the person who may be above your supervisor. And in the case of being in a position of looking for a new job or a new career, it's you need to make sure your contributions are accurately and powerfully communicated in your cover letter and on your resume. Okay. So we talked about branding a little bit, and branding really is about standing out. Like you don't want to look like everyone else in the job market. You want to stand out. So again, own and embrace those things that make you unique and make you different, because those are the things that are going to make you valuable. And um, lastly, I just want to share with you, not only do I want you to be real, but I want you to learn how to position yourself for serendipity. It's important to be seen and be ready. So, your LinkedIn profile, I'm so glad Jessica asked you to share that. Your LinkedIn profile is going to be one of the most powerful marketing tools you have in order to put your best foot forward, to be intentional about the serendipity that we're talking about, how you can create your good fortune and how you can articulate your value. Your LinkedIn profile is going to be one of the most powerful ways that you can do that, because it is up to you to sell yourself. You have to sell who you are and what you bring to the table, because no one else is ever going to be able to do it more powerfully or more valuably, more in a more valuable way than you. And here's the deal. When I talked about being authentic, the reason I'm saying that is because there are a lot of people who will say things and try to create an illusion of who they are. But in reality, they're not that at all. You don't want to be like some of the marketing advertisers out there where you see this, what's on the left, you see that in the commercial, then you run to the store, you run to the restaurant, and then when you unwrap your wrapper and you're like, wait, this doesn't look like what I saw on TV, right? You don't want to ineffectively or unrealistically sell yourself. You want to do it authentically and powerfully. And you want to sell yourself, sell, what you bring to the table, how you bring what it is to the table. You really want to focus on how what you have done and what you have to offer can help transform the organization, can save the money, make the money, improve customer service, improve quality, reduce injuries, improve safety, all of those things, right? So it really is important to be authentic and real in how you position yourself, because who you are is enough. Who you are is enough. Um, I love these words by Harvey Specter. Yeah, I know that's not his real name, but that's who he is to me. I love Harvey Specter, who is an actor in the show called Suits. But he says, work until you no longer have to introduce yourself. Mm. work to post articles on LinkedIn and to share information on social, to network with people and effectively communicate, what it is that you do and how you do it so that people go, wow. And people start telling other people about you so that your reputation enters a room long before you do, right? So work until you no longer have to introduce yourself. Your experience, your accomplishments, and the work that you do speaks for itself and speaks long before you enter a room. And then my girl, Oprah Winfrey says, let excellence be your brand. When you are excellent, you become unforgettable. Doing the right thing, even when nobody knows you're doing the right things, will always bring the right things to you. And so as you're thinking through this situation that you're in and this place that you're in, I want to encourage you to stay hungry, stay foolish, and stay insanely inspired through the ups and through the downs. Stay insanely inspired. I believe that success and wealth love action. So I want you to put into practice what you've learned from me today. And I'm going to be followed by an amazing presenter that you do not want to miss. Amanda is going to also share some very practical information with you that you can use immediately. Take what you've learned from me, take what you're going to learn from Amanda, and you put those things into place immediately. Because if you want to be wealthy, if you want to have a successful career, it's going to be important for you to put what you learn into action. And so, as I prepare to open up for questions, I want to just encourage you to live your brand. Live your brand. Live your brand. So, if you would take a moment and if you'll scan this QR code, I'm going to be giving you a free digital copy of my book, Your Brand Influence: The Art and Science of Building an Influential Personal Brand. So if you fill out this QR code and you respond, make sure you fill out the information. You're actually going to get a video from me, which is a Born for Greater video, inspirational video, and you're going to get a free copy, a digital copy of my best-selling book, Your Brand Influence. So I know we only have a few minutes left, but I want to just open up for questions. Jessica, would you please share with me? If we'll keep the slide up for just a little bit longer for people to be able to apply this, but if we could add Jessica as a spotlight so we can see both of us. Jessica, do we have any questions that I think I saw one or two in the chat, but can you share with me the questions from the people that we had join us today?
Yeah, I think one of the main ones here is around people that are kind of stuck in, they've been doing something for a lot of their life, a job, and they're really thinking about how to transition. So it's almost like changing a brand or thinking of themselves differently. What are some tips you have for people that are actually doing that kind of transition?
Yeah, so, kind of thinking of yourself differently. You cut out at one point, so I'm going to answer the question I think I heard you say, but so tell me if this is correct. They've been doing one thing for a long time. They now want to do something different, and they themselves are kind of stretching to think of like position themselves and to talk about themselves in this new light. Is that pretty much what you were
Yep,
saying?
yep.
Yeah, yeah. So one of the things that I encourage people to do is I believe a lot of their skills are going to be transferable to this new area. And what we need to do is connect the dots and find the dots, right? So that we can connect them. I have, Jessica, don't tell my husband, but I have a boyfriend and his name is Chat GPT.
Yes.
What I would encourage people to do is to create a list of all the skills that they have and all of the things that they're really, really good at and how they make a positive impact in the environment that they were in when they had all of this experience. And then I would ask them to put in as much detail and information about the new arena or the new area where they want to move into or excel at, and then ask ChatGPT to help them see how their skills transfer to this new arena. And also, I would ask Chat to create a 7-day course for them that will help them prepare for a role in this new area, looking at their current skill set and the skill set that's needed to excel in this new role, and ask chat to build a course for them that they can go over in 7 days. And chat will actually build out a full-blown course that they can every day get up and actually work through to help build stronger skills in the area where they want to pivot to. And as they do that, the last thing that I would have them do is ask chat, once they've developed those skills, they've, gone through the training and they've gotten stronger, to ask chat to help them now articulate their new strengths in relationship to the position that they're looking to step into. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I love that. And if you aren't using ChatGPT or AI yet, this is one of the ways that you can really utilize it to help in your job search. That's awesome.
Yeah.
One more question here, and this one is around how do I figure out my self-worth when I've been stuck in kind of not being celebrated or appreciated for the job I've done, the work I've done. So how do we go in and find that for ourselves?
Yes, so the personal brand assessment is an extremely valuable tool, because while you may get a couple of outliers that, like me, you're going to hear something you don't really want to hear. I heard so many positive affirmations about what it is that I bring to the table. I also want to encourage you to change your environment, change your group. Sometimes our family, our friends are not always uplifting and encouraging. And I would try to network in new groups that have more of a positive mindset and a more positive energy in the group, so that you can get to know people who are going to be more supportive and more encouraging. If in the workplace you're hearing negative things, or people are telling you what you're not, really ask yourself the question, because the first thing we need to do is be honest with ourselves. There are some things people gave me as feedback, and when I honestly sat down and reflected, they were right. But I didn't have to stay that way. Jessica, I put a strategy in place and said, how can I get better in this area? And so that's another way, a third way to address, what you're hearing. But I have a video series called the Game Changers Weekly Video. And if you go to my website, lethiaowens.com, at the very bottom, if you just sign up for our newsletter, you're going to get positive, encouraging videos every week that are going to help you with how to become a better person and how to become a better leader. And so having, books or videos and audios that you can digest that's going to help you be better is another way to address that.
Yeah, that's so good. People are dropping in that they really appreciate you and your book. Thank you so much. One more question, and I think this is interesting because for so long in my life, I'm Gen X, and one of the things I was taught is, listen, fake it till you make it. And what I've learned about over the last 10 years is that's just not going to work. So authenticity is where it is. And so we have some people that feel like they're struggling because who they feel they are authentically is a little geeky or a little like doesn't connect well with people. And so what advice do you have for them, the people that feel that like maybe they're the one that doesn't really fit in to the mainstream or might be a little different? I think we actually all feel like that, to be honest. But let me tell, what do you think about that?
So here's the deal. Why work to fit in, right, when you were born to stand out? You don't have to fit in. So when we start thinking that we're not enough, or when we start, listening to because the world will tell you you are not enough. The world will tell you you don't fit in. The world will tell you that you are, all these things that are negative, and many of them are not true, right? And when we buy into that, we begin feeling like we're not enough, we're not good enough, we're not young enough, we're not smart enough, we're not enough of anything. So I choose to not buy into and believe the hype or the conversation that's going on, in the world with negative people about who I am. I just choose not to believe that. And so when you realize that you don't have a positive view of self, when your self-esteem is not necessarily that high, I encourage you to just go to, do an activity where you write down as many things as you can think of ways that you've helped other people, of impact that you've made in the world. It could be something as simple as, one of the things I love doing is when I meet strangers or I'm at like the grocery store, I have built a relationship with all of the tellers. I know them. I know about their grandchildren. I know about their lives. I have conversation with them when I'm walking through that grocery store, because not only do I pray to meet someone every day who's going to make my life better, but I want to be a person that someone meets who makes their life better. That is an intention that I hold. So even if it's just connecting for a few moments with Samantha in the grocery store line, who's a young Hispanic woman that we hit it off talking about street corn, Mexican street corn in an hour one day. Now I know her, right? So start building relationships with people, and doing things that can help you to be better, for yourself, but to also build relationships with people who will speak positively into your life. So hopefully that helps.
So good. So good. Well, thank you, Lethia. We so appreciate you being here today and taking time and volunteering your time to speak to our audience. We so appreciate you. And how about if you have any last thoughts for Lethia? She will be on for just a couple minutes as she reads through the chat, and then she will be dropping off. So if you want to get a hold of her, you have the QR code, you have her social media, connect with her on Instagram, LinkedIn, and Twitter, and there is her email. Please feel free to reach out to her. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We appreciate you.
Yes, I did put the You Were Born for Greater video link in the chat for everyone. Thank you so much for serving your community and the audience. And I pray that it's a blessing to people. And I'm so excited about the work you're doing. And I can't wait to hear the first part of Amanda's presentation. I'll be on for just a little bit longer.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you. And have fun in Florida. Love Florida. It's the best.
All right, take care.
Bye. All right, you guys, we are going to move on into Amanda Miller. Amanda Miller is truly your career advocate. So it's no coincidence that that's the name of her company. For nearly 3 decades, she has been supporting job seekers throughout their search, from writing resumes, cover letters, and LinkedIn profiles, to providing guidance and coaching on the entire process. When not behind her keyboard, you can find Amanda on a hiking trail or at the gym. If you watch her LinkedIn account, you will see some of the amazing trips she takes and hikes she goes on. So she has been an advocate for career connectors and a supporter of the community and the people we serve. So please help me welcome Amanda Miller.
Hello, everybody. Yes, Jessica's right. I hike all the time. I just came back from Europe. I got off a plane from Prague and I'm still not sleeping right. Jet lag is real, my friends. It's awful. But I am ready and excited to share with you this information today, and hopefully it will all work. I have, there we go. Okay, so I'm going to go quickly. I will try to not get too excited and speak too fast, but I have a lot of slides to get through. So just remember 2 things. One, you're going to see this. It's going to be sent to you as another video. You can slow it down. You can watch it. You can rewatch it. You can take notes and whatever. It'll be available. The other thing is, you can connect with me on LinkedIn. And I share all this stuff all the time. Plus, at my website, I have blogs on everything I'm going to discuss. They're also on LinkedIn. So on LinkedIn, I am Meet Amanda Miller. And then my website is yourcareeradvocate.co, not com. I'll be at the end, but you can definitely connect with me and get all this information. So who am I? Other than a hiker and recently a world traveler, I've been doing this for a long time, and I don't just do it. I'm super excited about doing this. I love helping people, and I practice what I preach. Everything that I'm going to tell you about today, I've done for myself, I've done for my husband, I've done for clients. Clients have told me about things. And I'm also involved in 3 professional organizations for resume writers and career coaches. So I stay involved in all of this. You are not going to get weird, incorrect information from me. If it changes, it changes. And actually, this presentation, if you've heard me say it before here, I have updated some things because things have changed. And so I like to stay, agile enough to keep up with them. So that helps you because you'll have the best information. So these are the 6 things we're going to talk about. You need a strategy. Just throwing noodles at the wall is just going to make noodles stick, right? That does nothing for your strategy. So we're going to talk about all the things you need to do, a little bit about ATS. It is not a crazy animal that is trying to get you down and stop you from getting that job you want. Definitely get into LinkedIn, how to network, the interview, and then salary negotiations and getting the position that you want. I don't know why note went crazy, but the note is this is an employer's market. You have to be proactive to get results. It's not that way it was even 5 months ago, even a year ago. You cannot apply for a position and just sit around and put your feet up and eat bonbons and be available to wait for those jobs to show up. They won't. I'm sorry, they're just not going to anymore. You have to be in the game. You have to be in the driver's seat. And hopefully I will give you some ideas on how to do that today. So to develop your job search strategy, you of course need to decide what kind of position you want. You want to work remote, in person, hybrid. There are still remote positions available. Even when we're returning to the office, they are available. You need to do research. I'm going to say that more than once. You need to research positions. You need to figure out who you are, what you want to do, and align your search with your values so that you can leverage those skills you have if you decide to make a pivot. Totally fine to make a pivot, but you need to be ready to do that. So you need a strategy of what you're aiming for, right? If you're just creating a resume and a LinkedIn profile that says, hey, I'm awesome, hire me, well, good luck with that. It's kind of like trying to, I hike. If I started hiking and I didn't download all trails, I'd get horribly lost. So I need to know where I'm going, and you need to know where you're going in your search as well. You also want to keep track of things. I see so many people on LinkedIn who say, oh, I've applied for 50 jobs this last week. Well, you're doing something wrong. That's just crazy talk. How are you tracking all of those? How are you following up with people? How are you connecting with the recruiters for those positions? There's just not enough time in the day. So you need to do those things, track it, research, connect with recruiters, pick out your references. You're going to need them, guaranteed. And stay focused. You are going to face rejection. I know it stinks. I felt it. Everybody's felt it. I've been laid off before. I mean, it yuck, right? But you have to keep moving on. Do what makes you feel good to get happier about it. Think about how awesome you are, and then keep. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about your resume. That usually is the base thing that you're going to need. Obviously, if you're networking, resume is kind of in the background, but you do want to have a great resume when it's asked for. So you just want to remember that in your resume, you're writing for people. Yes, I know there are ATS. ATS, if you haven't heard of it, has to do with applicant tracking systems. Those are databases that recruiters and employers use to track your resume when you apply. They're not just getting 50 applicants. For some in remote positions, I'm seeing thousands of applicants. So they have to have a way to track it. But ATS isn't here to kick you out. It's here to help them. So write your audience for people. Incorporate the keywords, but make sure that it's not just a block of keywords. We used to do that. Recruiters don't want to see that. They really want to see how you can add value, how you can solve the problem that they're facing, which they've outlined in the job description, and what you bring from the last 10 to 15 years, or if you have less than that, that's okay. In about 1 to 2 pages, make it super scannable. You always want to use a reverse chronological order, which really means I did that, and before that I did that, and before that I did that, that kind of thing. The other formats don't work nearly as well, especially with ATS. These are your base components on a resume. I could go and talk about all of this stuff for hours, but we don't have hours. So these are your base things you need. You would think it would make sense that people would put their contact information, but I can't tell you how many times I found it on the 3rd page in 8-point font at the bottom. Put it up front, keep it simple. Contact information is your name, your phone number, your email address, your LinkedIn URL, and a custom URL at that, and the location that you're in, just your city and state. People like to hear that. If you're looking to move, put the city of the state where you want to move. The title is the title you're looking for. Your summary is how you add value. Your experience, which includes your accomplishments, your education, if appropriate, licenses, certifications, memberships, all that other good stuff. We want to focus less on what you did, although that's important, but more on how you added value. I know I've said that at least twice before. Adding value is key. So we use accomplishments. You may have heard of SAR or STAR. I personally like CAR, challenge, action, result. Here are the types of accomplishments. You made somebody money. You saved somebody money. You made somebody happy. You increased productivity, solved a problem in that way, or you mitigated issues like risk management, loss, that kind of stuff. When you're thinking about it, you want to think about the challenge. When did it hit the fan? Okay, and I did this, and then this was my result. That's a great way to answer those questions in an interview to make accomplishment stories. But when you put it on a resume, you're going to flip it. You're going to put the result plus the action. The reason we do that is we don't want to bury the lead. What did you do to add value? Well, I did a whole bunch of things, blah, 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 blah. Snooze fest. I've stopped reading. You want to put at the beginning, increased revenue, saved money, all of those things at the beginning so that people can go, aha, this is an accomplishment. I want to read that. So you definitely want to make it short, sweet, and to the point. Okay, LinkedIn. Again, I could talk for hours on LinkedIn. Most of you probably are not even skimming the surface. Most of the people that I talk to, and I talk to about 7 people a day, believe it or not, on their search. And most of them aren't even using LinkedIn. They have no idea what you can be doing on there. It is so, did I mention so powerful? Just the search option alone to find people, to find jobs, you're probably not even doing that right. So first off, you have to have a great profile. But I will tell you, just having a great profile is like showing up to a networking event and putting on a name tag. It does nothing for you other than let people know you're there. So you want to do more, but you do need to have that name tag on, right? If you show up to a networking event. And that's really what LinkedIn is. It is a networking event. So you need compelling images. That's the image of you. Happy, smiley faces. People love that stuff. Then a background image behind you on your profile that says how you help them. That could be out of images. It could be words. Canva, CANVA.com is a wonderful resource that is free to help you to create these images. It should complement your resume. It doesn't have to be a carbon copy, but when people look at your resume and then they go look at your LinkedIn profile, which I guarantee you folks, they are going to look at your LinkedIn profile, and they find a disconnect, they're going to be like, I don't understand. And usually they're not going to ask the question. So make them similar. Although your resume is really just the facts, we write it in what's called telegraphic style, which means think about when you sent a telegram back in the day. I know none of us are old enough to remember what telegrams were like, but I'm sure you've seen a movie. And when you wrote telegrams, you had to pay for every word. So you didn't use words like A and V and and. You didn't spell out numbers. That's the way a resume is. LinkedIn, however, gives you lots of space, so you can be very conversational there. Use it as a portfolio. There's no need to have your own website. I mean, if you are in design and you want to show off a website, that's awesome. But you can just create a portfolio on there. And then open to work. I have that with a question mark. If you are not currently employed, I highly recommend turning on the open to work banner. If you are currently employed, do not turn on the banner. Turn on open to work, but make it for recruiters only. Why? Obviously, you don't want to lose your job, right? You have a job. You can still work. You can still actively do all this stuff, but don't let everybody in the world know that you're open to work, or your boss will find out and then you won't have a job, and then we'll have a bigger problem. So I highly recommend open to work. I will tell you though that you will get spam. It's just the way of the world right now. So just be wary of that when you turn it on. Again, research industries, companies, people. You need to build a vibrant network on LinkedIn. You want to connect with purpose. I have 12,000 connections on LinkedIn. Do I know 12,000 people? No, I know about 200 people. But I have connected with a ton of people because I might be able to help them. They might be able to help me. That has built my network. Therefore, I can reach out to almost anybody on LinkedIn. And I could, if I were looking to change my job, which I'm not, I love what I do, but if I were looking to change my job, I could find somebody who does my job and conduct an informational interview and learn more about it. People love talking about themselves. Hey, Joe Schmo, I see that you're at so-and-so company. Can I get 20 minutes of your time to ask you some questions? Joe Schmo's going to say, absolutely, I get to talk about myself. Yes, I'm ready. So you can do an excellent interview with them and learn all the things you need to do. You do not need to reinvent the wheel. You need to follow what people who are already successful are doing. Obviously, apply for jobs. That's a big duh, but you should be applying for jobs on LinkedIn. And then follow up after applying. You have to write this down. This isn't on here, or you're going to have to read one of my blogs, but I'm going to tell you how you follow up. I see that there is a question. So do not reply to this email. This inbox is not monitored. Yeah, I know. Don't do that. You're going to use LinkedIn to follow up after applying. Look up the company, whether you applied on LinkedIn or Google, which I also love for looking for jobs. But wherever you applied, go to LinkedIn, look up the company, scroll down a little bit, look for people, click on people, type in the search box talent. Talent acquisition covers HR, recruiting, people, and culture. Find somebody, send an email to that person, connect with that person. Hey, I just applied for this position. I think I can add super amounts of value because of these things. I'd love to connect with you. Even if it's not the right person, it's a person, and they love your gumption when you do that. Okay, networking. So LinkedIn is a networking site, but I'm talking about in-person networking. You need to do this. If you are in any location, and I had somebody in Ocala, Florida, who's like, oh, I ain't got nobody to talk to here. I looked on Ocala, Florida. I literally did a Google search, Ocala, Florida networking. I came up with the Chamber of Commerce and 2 other kind of grassroots networking groups. They're everywhere. You can find a place to network. Even if you want to work remotely, network, because you're not just talking to that person who's standing in front of you, you're talking to that network. So I said, I know about 200 people. Most people know about 200 to 250 people. And when you're talking to them and telling them what you're looking for, that will help you get introductions. Huge, huge, huge. You want to have a game plan when you network. Don't just walk in and be like, hello, I'm here. The party has started. I do that because I'm silly, but that won't help you with networking, really. So you want to choose the right group. Do you want breakfast? Do you want over a meal at lunch, breakfast? Do you want a huge event, a little event? Do you want happy hour? There are all kinds of choices. Do you want a training event, a conference? You always need to be positive, and you need to have a goal. Your goal is not to talk to everybody in the room. It's just not possible. Last networking event I went to had 500 people. I'd kill myself trying to talk to 500 people. I want to talk to like 3 to 5 people and have a decent conversation. That's doable. I also want to have an answer, as do you, for what do you do? I guarantee you that's the first question you'll be asked. You'll have a name tag. They'll say, hi, Sue, what do you do? You need to know what to say. This is your formula. I am currently looking for a position as, and I'm targeting this company, this industry, or this type of company. That gives them something to hold on to. Not everybody knows what your title is, or your title might be at a variety of different companies. Give them a company. We do very well with specific to general. We do not do well at all with general to specific. So get more specific. If you need to exit, just say, you know what? It's been great chatting with you. Go meet other people. I know you want to meet other people too. Enjoy the rest of the event. Easy peasy. And follow up. You always need to be following up. Follow up on LinkedIn. Follow up on email. Follow up on a phone call if it makes sense. Follow up. Interview. Accomplishment stories. I told you about. This was a thing I did. This is how I solved it. This is what we learned from it. So that's really good. We're going to talk about that a little bit more. Definitely do some research. Again, 4th or 5th time that's come up in this presentation. Build your portfolio if it's appropriate. Look professional, test your technology. If it's virtual, show up on time. If it's in person, practice potential questions. I am a huge fan of ChatGPT for this kind of stuff. Actually just named mine Julie this morning because I like that name and that's what I wanted her to be called. And Julie helps me with all kinds of fun things. And, you know, I can say, hey, I need to do a mock interview with this client. Please give me 5 questions I should be asking. Give me 10 questions. You can do that too. I'm going to be meeting with this person. I actually did an interview this morning because I do resumes and this company needs a resume writer. And so I'm going to probably go help them. I asked ChatGPT, hey, this is the job description. This is the person I'm meeting with. This is my LinkedIn profile. Here's the website. Give me some questions I should ask. Give me some questions I should be prepared to answer. It's pretty spot on. So you will be asked to tell about yourself. This is not your laundry list of everything you've ever done in your entire life. This is how you add value. Strengths and weaknesses, make it things that you're working on for weaknesses, and strengths can be really anything that's associated with the job. Weaknesses should not be what's associated with the job. Hey, I'm interviewing for IT. I stink at technology. Yeah, that's not what you want to say. Why do you want to work here? Because you love the company, you love the culture, whatever. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Talk about strengths and how you're building them and how you're growing with the company. Tell me about a time when is your accomplishment stories. They're usually going to give you a challenge. You give them the action, the result, and lessons learned. Questions you should be asking. These are all great questions. Why is a position vacant? What does it look like when I start? How do you measure success? What does a 30, 60, 90-day plan look like here? Do you like working here? And a great one, and the reason it's bolded is because this will help you to keep moving forward. Do you have any questions that I can answer that will help you in moving my candidacy forward? This is great at every stage, and it helps you overcome any concerns they might have. Once you get an offer, you need to start negotiating. You don't have to, but I will tell you that more than 50% of companies expect you to, and about that same number of people do not negotiate. So what do you have to lose? Always be grateful, gracious. Those are huge things. Review the whole thing of the job offer and come back with the whole thing. Don't nitpick it and pick it apart. You want to talk about the whole thing. Instead of saying, I want, or can you give me? Say, would it be possible? Is there a possibility? Those kinds of things. You can negotiate anything. So you want it to come out as a win-win for both of you. And if it's not going to work, it's not going to work. It's okay to walk away and say, you know what, I've thought about this, and unfortunately, this isn't going to work for me at this function, this junction in my career. And thank you so much. And I wish you the best with your next candidate. I'm only a couple minutes over. I know that was a lot of information in an little bit of space. And I apologize. When I looked at this, it looked fine on my computer. I don't know why it looks goofy here, but it is linkedin.com/in/meet Amanda Miller, not Miller. And on Facebook and Instagram, it's Your Career Advocate. And then on web, it's yourcareeradvocate.co. I always, always, always offer free resume reviews. Feel free to reach out to me and say, hey, I'd love you to look at my resume. I'll also look at your LinkedIn profile if you'd like. So reach out to me, follow me on LinkedIn. I do share a lot of information. As you can probably tell, I'm super passionate about what I do. And if I can help you, even with just a simple question, I had someone the other day, hey, I have this question, can you help me? I gave him an answer and sent him to one of the blogs I wrote. So let me know how I can help.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Amanda. We really appreciate it. She knows what she's talking about, you guys. And so connect with her on LinkedIn. You will get to see her updates and her social media. And she will be available in the breakout sessions here in a few minutes if you have some questions for her. All right, so I'm just going to close it out with some resources right now and an exciting announcement I have for you all also. First of all, Sharon just dropped a survey into our chat. So if you could take a moment to fill out our survey, we would greatly appreciate that, because that is a way for us to get feedback on these events and find out who is here and who is attending. Also, we have a couple tools for you guys and resources. You will get an email after this event that will provide these links as well. So the first one is a DISC assessment. And so you can take the DISC assessment at no cost, and it will allow you to find out some of your strengths and your information. It's free, it's no cost, so you'll get that. Then also, some of you were asking about the recording. You will get a link to this recording. It usually takes a couple hours to download and then to upload into our into the YouTube channel. And so usually by this evening or in the morning, by the morning, you'll definitely have it up there, but we'll give you the link. And then we of course have a whole bunch of social media that we are connected on. The RWCA is here today, the Resume Writers and Coaches Association. We have many of the team from RWCA on the call. Amanda is one of them, and they come to every event to provide some content, coaching, and so many of them are here and going to be available for you in the breakout rooms. They know what they're talking about, so feel free to connect with them there. Also, we have some upcoming events, both Career Connectors events and then deep dive workshops for you that are available. Here are the next events we have coming up. May 8th is our next one. We'll be hearing about the modern job search and a lot on LinkedIn on that one. And then we'll be doing a full branding one in June. And so join us for those events and you will get a link again to sign up for the future events. All right, here are some deep dive workshops we have coming up. We're doing one on Wednesday, April 16th next week. And this one is all about resume writing. It's a deep dive, how to do your resume. Our instructor on that is Lori Norris, and she will walk you through that process. And then April 24th, I'm doing one on interviewing. And so we're actually going to use some of the CAR statements that Amanda talked about and help you pull together answers for your interviews. We'll walk you through a whole process of doing that. And then we have a job search essentials coming up in May. We just had one yesterday. And so the next one is in May. And then there's one on salary negotiation in May as well. All of those, you can sign up. Thank you, Kitty, for dropping the URL. That's the link for signing up for any of those workshops at no cost. And they're coming to you from Arizona at Work, Pinal County is the sponsor and the grantor on this, but anyone may attend. They're all virtual and they're all no cost to you. All right, you guys, I have something really exciting that we have been planning. I am not kidding. This has been in the works for 8 years. And I am so excited about this. Many people have been asking for us to provide more resources, more individual personalized coaching, because we do these great events monthly and we do career fairs and we do different things like that. But many people were asking, can we get something more regular that you can walk me through a program? So you guys, we did it. I'm so excited. Again, it was 8 years of dreaming and then about a year of planning and content and putting this all together. And so my colleague, Brenda Mariah, some of you may know her, may have had events with her or coaching with her. She jumped on the call for a few minutes. She has to jump off in a second. But she and I worked really hard to put together this full Pathways career coaching program, where we are going to take you from where you are today and walk you through all the components of job search. In fact, every single question that was in the chat today is answered on this. We give you a script, sample scripts on what you can use in your networking conversations. We give you interview programming. We give you how to negotiate, how to put your resume together, a template for kind of formats for your resume. If you don't even know where you're going, we're going on a road trip and you're going to start with the pre-planning and understanding your career and what you want. So Brenda, I'm just going to give you a minute to do you want to add anything to this?
I love all of you guys. I can't wait to see you win. There's so many details and I think frustrations that folks end up having on the journey, like get out there and network. Okay, but what do I say and who do I say it to and how often do I follow up and all of the mechanics, and we really get into the weeds here. So I love that this has been made available to you so that you don't have to wait for another Career Connectors event. We'll always be there. We'll be your guides and your companions on the journey. Can't wait to see you win.
Yes, awesome. Another big thing we included was AI. So if you are utilizing AI, we're going to give you, there's embedded in there 12 pages of prompts, depending on the topic that you're trying to prompt about, you're trying to get information. If you haven't used AI, we actually have some information on how to even get started. And so we're so excited. We're doing a soft launch of this. So this first month is specifically for Career Connectors people. And this is the first time we have ever charged for something at Career Connectors. And so the reason we had to do that is, one, it takes a lot of resources, a lot of time for the platform, for us to keep the information current and content. And so we had to pay for this. So what we're doing is a special launch for anyone who joins us for the next month. And then Brenda and I are also doing a special small group workshop and Q&A session for at the end of April for anyone who joins us in this first session. And so you're going to get that bonus option as well. You're going to get templates, workbooks, tools, worksheets, downloadables, all of that. And the whole program is done in short little videos. They're 2 to 5 minute videos, and then you go and do an activity. For example, LinkedIn, updating your LinkedIn profile. I think it's about 10 steps, and we walk you through how to make connections, how to do all that. So super excited. You can get the information at pathways.org, and Pathways is spelled PATHWYZ.org. It's only $39.99 a month. Normally $69.99 a month, and our board is a little frustrated at me right now because we dropped the price and they didn't like that, but I said, you know, that's just, we're not going to overcharge in any capacity. So if you are interested in joining us, go to pathways.org, and we would love for you to go through this. We're taking all of your feedback and we're updating daily based on what we're hearing. So welcome to the team if you're going to join us, and we're excited to be able to offer this. Thank you, Brenda, for all your hard work in helping get this launched and going. All right. Okay, and I just want to do one shout out, and she's not on the line right now, but her name is Linda Karas. Somebody was asking in the chat, as a volunteer for something, can I put the volunteer job in? Absolutely. Linda Karas is a training, and she's a director level for training and online content development. And she raised her hand and said, hey, is there any projects I can help you guys with? So Linda actually helped create this database for us and was wonderful. And when an employer asked for a reference, they called me. I gave her the most glowing reference. She was wonderful. She's done such a great job. And she actually got an offer a couple days later. And she said she's in her dream job now. So she would not have made those connections and gotten in the reference, of course, without volunteering. So if you are interested in volunteering for our organization, we have a couple things open, or get out there and volunteer for another organization right now, because it will build your confidence and it will also help you make some great connections. I just want to say thank you to all the volunteers that we have on the line today. So many of you are serving. You've seen some of them in the chat talking, and they're going to be available in breakout rooms. And also we have people supporting our Zoom. Again, the Resume Writers and Coaches Association, we so appreciate you. All right, so we are a nonprofit organization. So as you land and you're looking at your next opportunity, we would greatly appreciate any donations that you would like to give back to the organization after you land, so we can continue doing the work that we are doing. I just want you to know, we are praying for all of you that you do land into the career of your dreams. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for being engaged, and best wishes on your career journey. I am going to jump over to the breakout rooms and have Wendy walk you through the next step and how to connect with someone in our breakout room. Thanks for being here today.
Hi, everyone. So I will be opening up the breakout rooms. Let me do that now as I'm talking through this. I will open all the rooms, and you'll see rooms indicated as LinkedIn or resume or secondary speaker. You can just highlight the thing, do assign to, and then click again to move to that room. You can, if you go into one room, you can return to the main room at any time. You can go back to, or you can move to another breakout room if you want to visit or talk with someone else. If you happen to leave the meeting entirely accidentally, just rejoin like you did to begin with, and we can get you back in a breakout room. To do this, if you're on a smaller screen, there's a little button at the very bottom, probably close to the right end, that says more with 3 ellipses. If you just click on that, there should be a little link for the breakout room so that you can see those. And let me move to the next screen. And so these are the rooms that you'll have available. We'll leave this up so you can see it. The people who are in each of the room and what they're providing coaching on. And let me just really quickly, while I'm thinking about it as well, allow sharing in the breakout room so that the people you're with can share, or you can share with those. Any questions? Any help? Oh, and if you need help, if you're not able to get to a room for some reason, just put it in the chat or take yourself off mute and let us know where you want to go, and the support team can move you around.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Wendy.
Mhm.
So again, there's an icon on the bottom of your screen that says breakout rooms, and you can click on that. And then you'll see the list of rooms that are available. We have 7 rooms that are open right now. And you can go into any of those rooms and have a conversation. So I see, let's see, Pamela Heward has space. She can do LinkedIn and interviewing. Jamie Starner can do LinkedIn as well. Valerie Middleman, career coaching and resume writing. Kitty's room is getting pretty full. Krista Morris has resume writing and LinkedIn. Amanda Miller, you all just heard her. She's a professional certified resume writer as well. So those are, and then Gian Boldy is a finance coach. And so if you have questions on, unemployment, 401k, anything like that, he is a great resource for those kind of things. And so you can go ahead and jump into those rooms right now. And then if you aren't sure or you're not seeing that, just drop in the chat where you want to go, and our team will help you get to the room you want to go to. Or you can unmute yourself. Feel free.